Trustee Marquardt.
Here.
Trustee Takaoka. Trustee Forster.
Here.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Here.
Trustee Schenk.
Here.
Trustee Cook.
Here.
President Byrne.
Aye. Here. Okay, we have a quorum. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag Okay, is there a motion to appoint Trustee Cook President Pro Tem?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Cook to be President Pro Tem for the duration of the meeting.
Second.
Roll call?
Trustee Marquardt.
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Aye.
Trustee Forster.
Aye.
Trustee Schenk.
Aye.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
President Byrne.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Next item is citizens wishing to address the board. Is there anyone that wants to speak to the board? I know you signed up, but yeah, and go ahead, either one. Yep, come on up. And if you could state your, I know you wrote it down, but if you could state your name and address.
You can
Just pull it down,
so
just
you
pull it
can-
down. There you go.
Hi, I'm Sophie Mitchell. I go to Vernon Hills High School. I'm an incoming sophomore. On Wednesday, June 26th, I was on my way home from softball practice at the high school, which was at the high school, when I crossed Fairview Drive on my bike, and I was hit by a car. I was crossing the road at the crosswalk, but the older lady wasn't paying attention. She hit my back wheel, and I fell over and off my bike when the car hit me. I had a cut on my right elbow and bruises on my knees and legs, and I was in shock. I want there to be at least a light that flashes at the crosswalk because there are so many kids who walk and ride their bikes at school and back, and there's just a sign now saying that there should be a caution for kids. Very few people care about the sign, and people always speed. And we need a flashing light at the south crosswalk and the other crosswalk closer to the school so that kids and myself would be safer to cross, and for the future freshmen to be safe as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Where exactly, which intersection are you referring to?
So it's on Fairview Drive.
Fairway and Lakeview, or which?
No, it's Fairview right next to the fields.
Yeah, it's
the
Cougar
high school.
Parkway.
So it's Fairview
Yeah.
Parkway, and there are
Oh.
two cross.
The one at Cougar, is that?
Yeah, where the
Yeah.
entrance to
Yeah,
the
it's both of them
parking
though
lot
is
for
what
the-
we're speaking of, yeah.
Memorial Arbor Theater is.
Were you by the Arbor Theater one or by Centennial?
The south one, closer to
Yes.
45.
Yeah, the one by Centennial there.
Yeah,
By our-
Oh, closer to 40.
yes, but both of them really need a light.
Talking
One
about
of them is
Nike.
One of them goes to the high school, the other one is closer to the fields.
Like the entrance to VHAC?
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Yes.
area?
Sorry
Okay.
So
about
both
that.
of us, Nike,
VHAC to the
So-
far
so
south.
Nike is one of them.
It's the
Nike-
north end of the VHAC.
Well,
Yep.
no, she's talking about the
South.
south end.
We're talking about the
Nike
south end.
and
That's
You're
Nike.
talking by the Stevenson baseball field?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's Nike
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Fairview Drive.
Okay.
That's where she got hit.
Okay.
So as we talked about this a couple weeks ago, Sophie's
Yeah.
so glad that you are okay. You know, as you know, I coach Sophie in softball, and I've known these guys for a while. And very serious, we're take this, and we are definitely have it. I think it's September. We should be having some proposals.
Okay.
I know we've been looking at both those intersections, both for VHAC.
Right.
And Shannon, are you doing campaign safety for the crosswalks tonight?
Yes, yeah, we'll have a
Talk about
presentation
that.
on that.
So,
Yeah, we have that on the agenda tonight, a
great.
crosswalk safety campaign by the police department.
You know, I know I coached with Mike for a while, but before that I coached my kids in soccer. So right there in those fields, so Vernon Hills Rec, you know, everybody's using those fields, and it's actually crazy that there hasn't been any kind of additional, you know, flashing light like there is on Butterfield, or the one next to Rust-Oleum, across from Rust-Oleum, on that one on Hawthorne. It's just, I think, so important because other kids have gotten hit, I think, recently as well. And this was an old lady. This was not somebody who was speeding. This was not a teenager, like everybody likes to blame. This was an older lady who just looked down and didn't pay attention. You know what I mean? So it gotten so much worse. When obviously, once we talked to Mike too, first thing she's going to do is from now on is walk the bike. So I think there's some things she can do, right? And some responsibility for her. However, she was at the right, really, to cross. And, you know, I think whatever we can do to help the kids, especially that neighborhood, that's the only neighborhood that actually walks to school. Everything else is industrial. So that there's no support for those neighborhoods, I feel like that needs to be more, and really quickly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely working on it. And
Yeah.
was it last meeting? Ms. Cadwell came up.
Yeah.
It's a similar situation, different part of town, not the same intersection. So
Yeah.
we were talking about, and you'll see tonight, it's not just putting the lights there too. You know, it's also awareness campaigns for kids, for
Sure.
at the schools, plus drivers, you know, in town,
Like-
just keeping a safe community because we pride ourselves in a walking, riding community. You know, everything is pretty much connected by sidewalks. So
Yeah. I mean, like, even like last weekend, I just kind of pumped my brakes to stop somebody behind me who was speeding because there were two kids who wanted to cross over and couldn't. They had been waiting because nobody sees them. And even Sophie was telling me, even before that accident, people just don't stop.
Yeah.
Just don't right there because nobody sees those signs. They just don't.
We assume, and that's the problem, you assume if you're crosswalking, you have the right of way, and you step out. A lot of people don't look. I've been a runner. I still look left and right, and before I cross, because I've been missed by cars.
I mean, now
even-
she's a driver's ed, so she'll never cross one of those. You know, she'll always stop.
Right.
So you learn your lessons, and she's just super lucky that nothing else happened. But you know, if we can help other kids, and even when I was coaching, I had middle schoolers come to my field, you know, to meet me for practice or for for games. So you know, they're less aware, you know what I mean, than high schoolers maybe. So it's not just high schoolers who are there. So it's
Well,
everybody.
even if we do put in yellow lights, please understand that still doesn't make it 100%, because I've nearly been rear-ended several times on Butterfield when I break,
Butterfield, I live really close
when
to
I break for those
Butterfield.
yellow lights there.
And I
Breaking some of the
actually,
rams in the rear end.
if I'm on that sidewalk and I see somebody not doing it, I'm pretty aggressive about making them stop. So not my kids, they're not allowed to do that, but I will. Just so no, you're absolutely right. There's no absolutely no safeguard necessarily, but I think it could be a little bit better.
Yeah, staff will
Great.
look into
Well,
it.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thanks.
Mayor lost his connection.
What's that?
If I can have 1 minute, the mayor lost his connection.
Okay. As soon as we get Roger back, you're up.
Hello?
Hello, Mayor Byrne, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris Meyer. This is a little after the fact, but I wasn't able to attend the last meeting. I wanted to thank John, the village board, and the 4th of July committee for spectacular fireworks and a very nice parade. The two of the bands, the Libertyville Kids, Music Camp, and the Pipe Band started playing right away. The other bands, although they played the drums at the beginning, it would have been nice if they could have also played the bugles. But other than that, it was a great parade. Thank you. I also wanted to bring up something about the Vernon Hills Days. There was a lady on neighbor next door was complaining because there was an officer in full, what she called assault gear, patrolling the grounds. She said, ended her tirade with, "Was this really necessary?" Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. I wrote back, yes, it was. Be thankful our police department, in light of all the crazy things going on, are able to protect us. Just thought I'd let you know.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think since Highland Park, things have changed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we need to. Yeah, so. Any other citizens wishing to address the board? Okay, then next thing would be officials report, and under the village president's report, we're going to talk about Vernon Hills High School. Dr. G, if you want to come on up.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to be here with so many of you whom have had special kind of engagement with our high school. Many of you parents, many of you just supporters of what we do at the high school. So tonight, my student board reps, Danny, Griffin, and Iman, are here with me to discuss with you something pretty special, and that is our 25th year as a high school. So it's hard to believe. I don't know about you guys, but it's hard for me to believe. I've been there since the beginning. I was a teacher at Libertyville High School and an administrator and the first math department head at Vernon Hills High School. So this year we're celebrating 25. Our 25th anniversary technically is the day we graduate in May, but this year is a special year for us. I often talk about the three pillars that make Vernon Hills High School so special. And those three pillars are the community for which we serve, the staff, and the students. And in the mid to early 90s, the Board of Education, as well as the two villages, started to talk about the idea of a brand new high school, splitting District 128 into what was a one-school district, Libertyville High School, into two, Libertyville and Vernon Hills. And it was this community that stood behind that idea and supported it and drove it to the point in 1997 a referendum was passed and we started construction on that building. The community as a pillar has been a valuable partner for us as we have gone through the years. And I think about our partnership with the police, fire, with the village, the park district, all other arms of our community. It's been special. Our parent groups, our CAST, our fine arts group, our athletic boosters groups have been nothing short of amazing. We have a Cougar Parent Connection who treats us about as well as any school that I know of as I talk to other principals. So our community has just been a super support. And I'm going to invite my board reps to talk a little bit about the other two pillars, the students and the staff.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Iman Deella, and I'm a senior at Vernon Hills High School. At Vernon Hills, students hold themselves to a high standard. In this past year alone, students have scored off the charts on the SAT, with a 5-year average of 1,200 and several students receiving the National Merit Scholar title. The National Merit Scholar title is typically awarded to rising seniors who score within the top 1% of PSAT scores within their state. Along with high SAT scores, our students push themselves to take challenging courses, including several honors and AP courses. In the 25 years of our school's growth, we have expanded from 6 AP course offerings to nearly 30. In fact, nearly 62% of VHHS students take at least one AP class each year. Through taking these classes in which our students excel, several students have been able to receive college credit, both in coursework aligned with their major and in classes in general education. Not only are these classes providing students with external motivators, but the classroom experience fulfills students, leading them to form intrinsic motivation to pursue higher education. At Vernon Hills High School, we pride ourselves on being daring individuals, an acronym that was created to highlight our core values as a school. Among these values is being inquisitive, our willingness to learn. Classes at our school, in conjunction with our incredible student organizations, truly promote these qualities within our school. These rewarding experiences enable students to explore their interests, become globally aware, and build confidence in themselves. In addition, students, along with our staff, have been able to achieve remarkable standings not only within our own community, but at a state and national level. Vernon Hills was recently named the second best non-selective public school out of nearly 800 in the state of Illinois by U.S. News Oral Report and is a Blue Ribbon School of Excellence. Both feats were incredible to come by and in just a short 25 years. Our school shows promise for the future ahead of us. Who knows what we'll have achieved by our 50th anniversary?
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Griffin Nichols. I'm a senior at Vernon Hills High School. Vernon Hills is truly a unique school. We now offer 35 different sports across the whole school year. The newest being girls wrestling and flag football, along with 52 unique clubs, all while having a student population of only 1,400. We may be a relatively small school compared to nearby Stevenson and Libertyville, but our students make up for that with their dedication to our daring mission. For example, the D of Dreamers and Doers represents our students striving for excellence. In 2024 alone, we celebrated our wind ensemble band state champions, our state champion gymnast Anka Chudy, and our state champion Special Olympic Unified Basketball team. We have handfuls of state finalists as well as conference champions. Now, that is a lot, especially in only one school year. That brings me to ask, can anyone here guess what Vernon Hills' first state championship was since our opening in 2000?
It was either math or music. Because I thought it was math, wasn't it?
Yep, 2001 math team. Not only do our students get things done, but they are aware of the power of being involved. Our student involvement rate is 87%, meaning 87% of our students are in at least one club or one sport. This is due to our students supporting each other through bonding over activities or receiving aid from one of our 100+ student peer tutors here at Vernon Hills. I would love to speak to our Sorry, the Chromebook is having an error.
Problems with the teleprompter.
There we go. Oh,
It's not open.
Technology.
Sorry. All right, there you go.
sorry about that, folks. I'll wrap it up. All right, there we go. I would love to speak to our inquisitive, nimble, and global students a bit more. But what I believe is the essence of our Vernon Hills community is our student spirit when it comes to assemblies, planning prom, homecoming, and alongside students staying connected over the summer. Our student community is what truly makes Vernon Hills special.
Hi, I'm Danny Gomez, and I'm also going to be an incoming senior this year at Vernon Hills High School. So finally, Vernon Hills wouldn't be as academically impressive nor have the incredible student involvement around all aspects of the school if it weren't for the amazing staff. At VHHS, teachers are constantly going above and beyond the expectations of their jobs. Many of them are taking on additional jobs around the school, such as being a coach for a club, a coach for a sport, or a club advisor. Not only are many of them taking on additional jobs, but they are also finding time to meet with students who have equally busy schedules. Whether students have previous commitments before school or after school, teachers go out of their way to meet with them in the morning or during free periods in order to be able to make their students successful in their class. As you can see, our staff makes a strong effort to cater to each student's needs. Along with personal experiences, my peers also agree that our education and school environment have been significantly enhanced by our wonderful staff and their flexibility. The staff not only help out students within their class time, but also spend their time out of class assisting students within the ARC. As many of you know, both LHS and BHHS have an academic resource center in order to help out students with any questions they might have. At VHHS, the ARC is an essential part of our students' success that couldn't be done without our immense help from our staff. There we can find both students who've taken the course and can help out with questions, but also, importantly, teachers who can help out with anything from math to science and English to even world languages. Furthermore, the staff is also incredibly involved in helping raise school spirit. During school assemblies for the dances this past year, teachers did a hot dog eating contest, as well as played a game of basketball against Vernon Hills students. Our teachers are involved, supportive, and kind, and Vernon Hills High School has been so fortunate to have them these past 25 years.
Thank you, guys. Good job on that. Appreciate our student board reps. They're an integral part of our communication to our school board, so I'm glad they're here for you tonight. Look, we just wanted to share with you some of our celebrations. Of course, we will celebrate our 25th anniversary on our 24th commencement. So we graduate in May. It's only our 24th because if you recall, our first year we only had freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. So our second year was our first year of graduates. This August 8th, we will join together as a staff for our first staff meeting in which we'll kick off the year of celebrations. Our homecoming is September 27th, and on that night we will do some special recognition of our school and its accomplishments, invite the community in for tours of the place, many of whom have been there, but not since we've done some of the cool additions and meaningful add-ons. Then in late winter, early spring, we'll have a school kind of celebration gala in which we will invite community in, open up the time capsule, do some reminiscing, and celebrate all we've done. So I want to invite all of you to any of those things. I asked for permission to hang banners on the light posts like you all do with so many cool celebrations here in the community. John was gracious enough to allow us to do that. And so that logo is one that we've created special for this year. And we'll have blue banners and silver banners with that logo on there. So looking forward to flying those with pride as well. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being here.
Thank you. A little fact to throw in, the first year the building was open when it was just freshmen.
Yeah.
Our village manager was one of those freshmen.
That's good. Yeah, that was still Libertyville High School at that time, right?
Yeah.
So just freshmen, it took the place of the Brainerd building, it was just freshmen, so not technically Vernon Hills High School yet.
Nope, not yet, not yet.
Great.
Yeah, thank you. You guys did a wonderful job. Super excited. My oldest just graduated, and I have twins that are going to be freshmen. So we're here. One of the main reasons why we're here is because of Vernon Hills High School, and we're really happy. And then, you know, we can't. Dr. G runs the place over there. For those of you who don't know, this is your last year. You're retiring, huh?
Yeah.
So let's make it a big one.
We will make it a big one. Promise.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that took a number of years of a lot of hard work from a number of groups. Some fortunate timing, getting the 160-some acres from the federal government allowed us to do all the athletic fields on free land. That helped decide exactly where to put the high school. When you've got all those acres of free land for your athletic fields, that's where it should go. Yeah, I think it's one of the best things that's ever happened in this village was building that high school. And there were a lot of people spent a lot of time getting that done, so I greatly appreciate it. Mayor, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, you know, it's just great that we have a high school in town. It was a labor of love by myself and the board, a couple of probably different boards. And it only took 5 referendums to pass. And as a result, though, we have Vernon Hills High School. I'm happy as ever that we're producing the quality students that we are to go on to college and to have careers in their adult lives. But the high school is way better than just being known as a town with a shopping mall, which we were in the past. So, Burns Hills High School, 25 years, it's great.
Yeah, we'll be happy to do whatever we can to help you promote the celebration and, anything, because it's a major cornerstone of our community, so.
And I've said this in the past to people, but publicly, at 14 years old, they enter in as kids and they leave at 18 young adults. And I think the mayor just hit it. The Vernon Hills High School has produced some of the finest young adults I've seen in my lifetime. So good job.
Yeah, I would agree.
Where are the banners going to be flown? Did we decide on that?
So Dr. G and Chris have been working on it, and it's going to be in proximity of the high school, so all roads leading to the high school. So that would include if there's mounts on Executive and I believe CDW Way, and then on Fairway coming from both ways in Lakeview Parkway. And as everyone knows, there's a cougar and the whole ring going around the high school. So I believe 15 was the number. And Chris has made sure that we have 15 new brackets, and we hope to have it looking amazing by the first day of school.
Great.
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 Okay. Cool. All right. Next would be the village manager, the Park District Real Estate Exchange agreement.
Yes, thank you, Trustee Cook. Good evening, everyone. Well, first and foremost, I just did want to touch on the amazing weekend we had in Vernon Hills. As you all know, we had Vernon Hills Days wrap up. We were blessed with beautiful weather all 4 days, and Assistant Village Manager Petrillo is going to go over that in a little bit, but I did want to share some preliminary numbers with the board. Our sales for this year, preliminarily at this point, our beverage sales were just shy of $55,000 for the 4 days. In context, last year, our overall sales were $29,440. So almost doubling last year's sales. And in fact, our Friday night sales exceeded last year's total sales. So just an overall great evening. From a carnival standpoint, our sales for the 4-day weekend were $153,000. Last year, we were about $135,000. So again, just overall fantastic weekend. A lot of people to thank, which John will get into, but wanted to share those preliminary numbers. Next, I have just a quick recap on item E on the omnibus agenda. This is a restated agreement. You may, if you were on the board in 2018, you may remember approving the original agreement for the real estate exchange with the Park District. As you may know, the Park District currently operates their maintenance facility at 1400 Indianwood, and the village has a maintenance facility at 7 Phillip Road. Those original arrangements were based on a lease agreement, and then in 2018, the two entities decided that it would be best to just change ownership to reflect the current maintenance and operations of those facilities. The board authorized that agreement, and for whatever reason, the due diligence after the fact was never completed, and so the official exchange did not take place. So the item on agenda item number E under omnibus is restating that agreement, establishing new due diligence deadlines for the ultimate exchange of that property. One item of note that's going to be taking place is a re-subdivision of the 7 Phillip Road parcel. That's quite a large parcel. It does include more than just the building and parking area. It also includes Firethorn Lake and a bunch of the detention behind the police department. So what you'll be seeing in the future, also going through our Planning and Zoning Commission, is a re-subdivision by the Park District to just include the building and garage and parking area for the eventual village property. So if there's any questions, I can answer those. Andrew, Attorney Ferrolo. That's all I have.
Anybody on the board have any questions, Ron? No? Okay, good. Okay, Assistant Village Manager event update.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend, and for those who attended Vernon Hills Days, I believe you experienced a wonderful event. Tonight, we've prepared an illustrated recap of Vernon Hills Days and this festival. As the board and community are aware, we experienced a significant amount of rainfall in the days leading up to this event. And while we had bright sunshine on Monday and Tuesday, the parks would not allow or accommodate heavy equipment to stage on the grass. So the board was advised, and with their consent, we began working with Jeff Fougeroux from the Park District to come up with a new plan that was developed and implemented. And tonight we have some images of what this looked like in the process and how it turned out. So our first slide here are some of the images of the new site configuration. Our first shout out, and we're going to say this repeatedly throughout the night, goes to Rust-Oleum. Without the use of their parking lot, it would have been very challenging for this event to have occurred with the success that it did. And we also want to express our appreciation to everyone who contributed and compromised and committed themselves to ensuring a great community event. We opened Vernon Hills Days with VIP night, and we were joined by members of our village board, Park District officials, and elected officials to include State Senator Johnson, who brought with her the United States of America pageant, Miss Illinois Chanel Mason, as a VIP guest. Thank you to all who joined, and thank you to everybody who made our VIPs feel welcome and special. As the sun began to set, you can see the carnival light up, and here are a few images of the new site, and you can see on the south end of Century Park, it begins right there with the train and some of the smaller rides that the grass could accommodate. And again, thank you to Rust-Oleum for the use of their parking lot where all the heavy equipment was placed in, and just what a perfect venue for this event. Opening night was awesome. We had boy band night open, and it was just a fun experience for all. We saw many people in the audience singing and dancing to some of their favorite songs, and just talk about perfect weather for a festival. Our elected officials were given an opportunity to address the crowd, and they each expressed their appreciation to our event sponsors. Thank you to Trustee Cook, Trustee Marquardt, Dr. O, and Trustee Schenk for the shout-outs to all the police, Public Works, Countryside Fire, our partners at the Park District, the committee, and again, Rust-Oleum. As the sun set, our queens were given an opportunity to introduce themselves and start the countdown, and once again, our vendor, Pyrotechnico, put on an amazing fireworks show. Friday night, we had just a very large crowd turnout. We had Alt 101 open the evening, and you can just tell there was just a great vibe of everybody enjoys 90s alternative music. During the intermission, thank you to Dr. O, who once again greeted the community and expressed appreciation to all the event sponsors, but again, Rust-Oleum. As everybody is aware, Everclear came in, and we experienced some of the largest crowds we have ever witnessed at a summer event. Fans were able to enjoy many of the band's top 40 hits. We learned that Everclear had 12 top 40 hits, and just a great evening. And here are some of the images from the stage and what it looked like from the band's perspective. And they had an opportunity to greet and jump around with many of our favorites. So just a great night. Saturday, just again, beautiful day, sunshine. The Gingers, Redheads Who Rock performed many fan favorite songs covering many great artists over multiple decades. This was followed by former lead singer from Journey, Steve Augeri. Not only did he perform top Journey songs, but he covered Led Zeppelin and a few other favorites. Just an awesome night for everyone. A couple other images of the night. You can just see, it's always cool when the fans get into it. And then some artist love and appreciation there. That's the Redheads Who Rock right there, trying to get selfies of themselves with Steve Augeri playing. So you can just kind of tell the vibe. It was just absolutely wonderful. Sunday was fun day and featured games to include the carnival, a bags tournament, a canine demo, and the Cream of Cop fundraiser. So thank you to the PD for helping carry that day. And as everybody is aware, Mike and Joe closed out the evening. You know, we've always had the idea of having the Sunday night bands. Since the infrastructure is there, don't let it go to waste. And you can see the community appeared to be very receptive as there was a large turnout. So just a great night. There are many people to thank, and we're going to put Rust-Oleum at the top of that list. We're going to put our surrounding area businesses that allowed parking, the Park District, just great partners, Public Works for all the site setup and takedown. They also, special shout out, Chris, to everybody who came in early on Monday to make sure that the lot was in perfect condition for Rust-Oleum, and they said thank you. Thank you to the police department, as we heard from Chris. Many comments about it, and I'll say this. Kevin and I talked about it, and we met with everybody that was joining us, our own local police, members from larger agencies joined, and it felt very safe, Shannon. So pass that on, our appreciation to everybody. When you walk into a Vernon Hills event, I think there's a feeling of confidence that it's going to be safe, so thank you. Thank you to the Countryside Fire Protection District, just great partners, our Vernon Hills Days sponsors that made this possible, and the Vernon Hills Days Committee. Want to put a shout out to Brandon and his crew. There was probably a lot of compromising. We had to pivot with the new layout on one day's notice. I think everybody felt like they had to compromise and give something, but my belief is we delivered collectively an amazing festival experience to our community. So just a wonderful night. And so Brandon, good job to you and the committee. And if the weekend schedule for the board, the community wasn't busy enough, one last shout out to the Park District for the dedication of and ribbon cutting of their new splash pad on Saturday, Turtle Creek Splash Pad. Thank you to Trustee Cook, Trustee Marquardt, Trustee Forrester, and Shank for attending and making it special. I'll pivot back to the committee and let the board have the final comments. I just thought it was just an amazing festival. I've been part of the village for 31 years, and this one was just absolutely amazing. So good job to everybody.
Yeah, and can't have to echo your thanks to Rust-Oleum. Without them, that would not have come off like it did without their cooperation and their help. It was just amazing. And you know, when you look at it at the surface, it seems like a small thing. Well, we'll just move the carnival over here. But in talking with the police and the fire and everything, it was major shifts for a lot of things they normally plan in that. And all of the agencies you had listed there, everybody just pitched in and made the changes work. And you're right, it was a great festival.
Lot of work, and the gentleman next to me, we need to thank him as well. So the lawyers had to get involved. We had to get some insurance, identification.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the site work that was being done. A lot of people behind the scenes had to make this work. So thank you to everybody. Again, if you look on social, the feedback has been very positive. Go to the Vernon Hills Days Facebook page. You'll see a lot of positivity. Go to the village page. It's always great to see positive comments about a community event. And as Kevin said, he picked the weather this weekend. So good job, Kevin. It was a lot of rain, but 4 days of sunshine. You couldn't have asked for better weather.
I thought maybe the weather was because Matt Bartlett came back for the festival, and he used to be in charge of the weather, I thought. So. Mike, you want to say something? Trustee Schenk?
Yeah, I was there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I took my son there on Friday night for Everclear. I just couldn't believe the crowd. I really thought I was at like Tinley Park or something like that. I mean, the crowd was amazing, and all the nights the crowd was amazing, and of course, thanks again to Rust-Oleum. They just really came through for us, and really appreciate that. And I know this festival, I've been here 20 plus years, and this is the best one I've seen. But what I want to say is the only reason why it gotten this big is because all those volunteers in the past too that helped, get it to where it's at, and that's what we want to see. Just keep growing and growing and growing every year. So thank you to all those volunteers, those committee members, past and present. Can't do without you guys. So thank you.
Anybody else want to add something? Again, one of the other things that reflects on this in talking about the committee and a lot of the people that worked on it, we have a lot of second generation family members whose parents worked, years ago on what was then called Summer Celebration. And now we've got a whole bunch of the second generation that have taken over and are running it. And to me, that says a lot about what a community festival it is. Anybody else want to add something? No? Okay. All right, then let's move on to Deputy Chief, the Crosswalk Safety Campaign.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to note my remarks today are brief, but I'd like to assure the board and our residents that the efforts highlighted are only preliminary, and our work on this pedestrian safety campaign is really just beginning. So like members of the board, the police department was moved by Ms. Cadwell's crosswalk safety remarks at our last meeting, and I'm sure those feelings are only deepened today with Sophie's story. We recognize pedestrian safety is central to the enjoyment of village residents, and I'd like to give just a brief update regarding our efforts over the last 2 weeks. First and foremost, to inform the process, we specifically reached out to Ms. Cadwell for further information on the incidents involving her daughter. We will do the same with Sophie. And we looked back on prior crosswalk complaints received over about the last year. We recognize that our primary role in this initiative is not only to coordinate enforcement, but also to participate in education efforts. That being said, we began crafting and posting crosswalk safety messaging to our social media platforms, and we are actively coordinating with staff from District 73 in an effort to organize content geared toward both motorists and pedestrians. I personally met with Dr. Hannigan, and we're currently engaged with the district's communications specialist to ensure this messaging is highlighted prior to back to school. Part of that will include the customary public service announcement featuring the District 73 School Resource Officer, Detective Casey Bergschneider. Beyond back to school, though, we know we have to promote safety messaging throughout the year, which is why we're also reaching out to the Park District and Library District in an effort to achieve the sustained messaging and educational opportunities we know this initiative deserves. Quickly summing up my remarks here, I'll end on the topic of enforcement. The department's traffic coordinator has been directed to organize compliance checks on specified village roadways based on our analysis. Those checks began last week, and they will continue until the time we determine a different strategy is warranted. Again, those are very brief remarks, but I'd be happy to hear any questions or concerns from the board.
Well, I'd like to make sure that you, when you're, and you're probably already planning this, but not to overstate the obvious, when you do look at, especially where you've got the crosswalks at the schools, bring in the crossing guards that are out there on the front line on a daily basis, because I know several of them, and they've told me some, interesting stories about problems they've had with traffic and that. So
Right,
they would be people that I think are going to be huge help to you.
Sure, I think that's where we'd lean into the institutional knowledge of Detective Bergschneider, and with the District 73 schools, no doubt we'd also reach out to Vernon Hills High School, and again, just our residents who've had these either unfortunate incidents or near misses. We want to hear from them to help inform this strategy. We want to go about it in an informed manner.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
Well, I think you just said, I was going to say, make sure we reach out to Vernon Hills High School. I'm sure Dr. G, we will, you got the freshmen that walk, but you also have the sophomores, juniors, and seniors that are driving now.
Sure.
That need to be, I'm sure he'd be more than happy with, the SRO over there, Officer Mead and Mr. Williams over there too. Should be more than happy to help pass the education on.
Of course. Thank you.
Okay.
I was going to ask, do we have any data on accidents at Lakeview and Fairway? It always seemed to me a pretty dangerous intersection, people trying to turn left at the stop.
I don't have that information with me today. I can say anecdotally.
Just anecdotally.
I echo those concerns. There does seem to be more there than some other intersections I've encountered. Certainly more than the roadway design or traffic volume would suggest should normally occur at an intersection like that.
Just wondering if there's anything that can be done about that. I don't know if a stop light is warranted or.
And I think that's where I'm going to jump in with some of the engineering side. We're in the process of putting out a request for proposal for some intersection design studies. It includes some various locations throughout the village. I commented it on the last board meeting, but one thing I am including is bringing the consultant in to do a safety analysis and look at some pedestrian and bicycle improvements that we can do at those specific intersections on Fairway, as well as another one on Aspen as well by the elementary school there. What they're going to do is they're going to pull traffic data, accident history, volumes, and come up with kind of a palette of different options. You're restricted sometimes by the geometry, by the right-of-way, by the use, but I think we're going to come up with a couple good scenarios of what we would like to see or options that can, go work in tandem with what the police department's doing as well. So the current schedule and the plan would be to come to a September board meeting with a engineering consultant to award a contract to them and start doing that work at that time.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Anything else from any of the board members?
Sophie, you got the attention. I'm glad you're okay, so we'll get it right.
Okay. Nobody else has a speaking part tonight, right? All right, then the next would be omnibus vote agenda. Is there a motion to approve items A through E?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or other comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Markwart,
Aye.
Trustee Forster?
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Schenk?
Aye.
President Byrne?
Aye.
Chairman Pro Tem Cook?
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, there's no unfinished business, so then we jump to new business. Item 1 under new business is approval and passage of ordinance 2024-098, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Lake County Department of Transportation for the construction and maintenance of the Butterfield Road Bike Path Extension. Director Bennett.
Yeah, so back in 2021, the village worked with the Lake County Department of Transportation to start a project to add a multi-use path, bicycle and pedestrian facilities along Butterfield Road. They constructed the path from Town Line up to Greg's Parkway, was the first phase. As part of that project, Lake County fully funded the construction of that path, but then the village would take over future maintenance of it, which includes plowing it in the wintertime, keeping it clear. They are now moving on to the second phase of that project, which is to continue the bike path from Greg's Parkway up to Gulf Road in a very similar design as the one to the south. So again, as part of that agreement, Lake County is going to be funding all construction work. And what they're looking for is what's in front of you today is an agreement that the village will take over the maintenance and ownership of that path once it's completed. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Any comments or questions from the board?
Yep. What's the cost that it's going to be, Chris?
So they haven't bid this one out yet at this time. I don't have their engineering estimate in front of me, but I can certainly get back to you on that.
And what's the width going to be?
It's 8 feet wide, so it's a similar cross-section as the one to the south.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that the minimum for that kind of a?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. There's going to be a retaining wall that has to go in this one since there's some elevation changes. So sometimes you can go a little larger, but they're pretty space restricted. They had to deal with getting some property acquisition, some easements on the north side at Gulf Road with one of the properties there. So some fence and power poles are going to be relocated. The county's been working on this for several years now. They finally have everything pulled together, and this maintenance agreement is the last step. They wanted to have this in place before they go out to bid for the project. Their schedule is to go out, advertise in September, with the expectation that construction will start spring of next year.
Okay.
So property owners, property owners in Greg's, they've been notified that this is in the works? I know they're not, they're not going to be affected on their property, I'm assuming, unless they are, they'll have easements with the county, but the construction is going to be, is it on their side, in their backyards, basically, or just outside of their backyards where there's going to be?
Fence there.
Well,
I know,
Yeah,
right?
it's outside the berm, yeah.
Right, so the berm is, okay.
Yes, it's outside the berm. One of the reasons
So
that
they
the
really
retaining wall-
won't be inconvenienced by anything at all, really?
It shouldn't affect them. It won't affect their property. It's all staying within Lake County's right-of-way, so
Yeah.
it doesn't get into the Greg's Landing outlots. I know that they didn't, because it's within the right-of-way and this wasn't a design that required a public meeting, they didn't hold a public hearing for this project. But we'll certainly do outreach ahead of the construction and issue newsletters to the neighborhood to let everyone know that this is coming.
Dr. Oppenheim, that's your neighborhood there, right?
I live in Greg's Landing, but not
along that?
Not along
Oh, okay.
Butterfield.
That
Yeah.
was-
Trustee Takaoka lives much closer.
Yeah, there's the heavy forestation and the berm.
Yeah.
And the fence and everything that separates them from that. Okay, any other comments or questions? And is there a motion
Yeah,
to
Chris,
approve? Yeah, go ahead, Mayor.
who's Chris, who's doing the engineering on it?
You know, I don't have that information in front of me. I apologize.
Okay. All right.
Okay, then is there a motion to approve Ordinance 2024-098.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion a second. Any last comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Forster?
Aye.
Trustee Schenk?
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
President Byrne?
Aye.
Chairman Pro Tem Cook?
Aye. Motion carries. Second item, approval and passage of ordinance 2024-099, an ordinance granting a special use permit for a sports complex with associated site planning approval for an indoor soccer training facility, the soccer practice, 560 Bunker Court, Unit 4. Director Jennings.
Thank you. The soccer practice is a contract lessee of a vacant unit in the existing building at 560 Bunker. They are a new business with a concept that uses technology-enhanced training to make soccer training fun for younger players. So they had their petition in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission at the July 10th meeting. For the most part, the commission was very much in favor of this. They have recommended approval with two minor conditions. One, there's a existing evergreen tree near the front entrance that is dead that the landlord has agreed to replace. And then there was a question regarding signage. The regional PUD has sign regulations that differ from the standard sign code. So there's a condition that they work with staff regarding the signage. Both of those conditions appear in the ordinance that is in your packet for approval. There is a representative, the broker for the soccer practice is here if you do have any questions about their business. And I'm also happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay. Did the representative want to come up and say anything, or?
Only if there are questions. Stuart can.
Okay. Questions or comments? No, the Planning and Zoning was, voted everything in favor of it, correct? So,
That's correct.
yeah. No comments or questions from anybody? Okay. Then is there a motion to approve ordinance 2024-099?
So made.
Second.
Motion a second. If there's no other comments, a roll call, please.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schenk?
Aye.
Trustee Forster? President Byrne?
Aye.
Chairman Pro Tem Cook?
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, anybody having, before we get to one item we've got, does anybody have anything under communications they wish to share? Before we get to,
You put that up?
okay.
Okay,
then
that's for you.
We'll go right to you, John.
So as the board is aware, unfortunately, staff was advised earlier this week that former village president, former trustee, Barb Williams passed away. So for those who aren't aware of her history, she served as a village trustee from 1981 to 1989, as the village president from 1989 to 1993, and it's my understanding that she took some time off to take care of her husband. And then after he passed, she rejoined the village board and served from 2001 to 2017. So just to give you an idea of how long she served, many of us that joined the Vernon Hills Police Department in the late 80s and early 90s were sworn in by her. And again, the community mourns her loss. It's my understanding that Christ Lutheran Church will be holding a service for her. I believe it's on August 31st. I believe it's a Saturday. And just an opportunity for the community to come and and pay respect to her. So I know a lot of the board, including yourself, Trustee Cook, and some of the Mayor Byrne, served with her a long time and consider her a close friend. Some of the other trustees that served also had an opportunity to share their experiences and their service with the community. As you entered the village hall, you'll see that there was a mourning bunting displayed, and we do want to express our appreciation to the Countryside Fire Department for loaning that to us. Per protocol, it'll be up for the duration of this week and next week as well, just in memory of her service to this community.
Yeah, Barb.
Yes, John?
Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah. Did you, the posted video, which is an interview by Lynn Brando interviewing myself and Barb Williams back in 2015, I'd recommend to anybody on the board or in town that knows Barb to watch it. It's about a 45-minute interview, and it was a lot of fun. It's bringing back old memories and discussing things that happened, you know, back when she was mayor, back when she was, you know, a trustee before that. And then obviously, I was more than happy to help her get elected back to the village board, which it was, I think was 2001.
Yep.
And, you know, there's just so much history that she was involved with myself and the board, that, you know, she did a great job, and she should be thanked by everyone, and I certainly will thank her personally, you know, as we speak. But she's a great lady, she did a great job for the village. So, that's all I got.
Yeah, Barb was somebody who put this community first, always. She's was one of the longest and dearest friends I've ever had. She was matron of honor at my wife's and my wedding. We were friends with her before she got into politics here at the old bus company over there. And in fact, she was the one that got me involved here, appointed me to Zoning Board of Appeals, which we don't have anymore, and then got me into being a trustee. But it was when Roger became mayor, so Barb swore me in, and then 3 minutes later, Roger took over, so we were only on the board together for 3 minutes. But she made up for that by coming back in 2001. So, yeah, the amount she did for this community can't be, you know, you just can't count up everything she did in all the years she was on this board, and even the years she wasn't on the board as an advisor and stuff to that, as a great friend and a great mentor. So she will be dearly missed.
Very much a wonderful woman. I know for a fact, before I was a board member, being with Barb and knowing her, and then I actually was lucky to sit right next to her when she served and I served here too. So, wonderful woman.
And to end it on a high note, she, as matron of honor at our wedding, I was a 40-year-old bachelor, so there was some concern that I might not really go through with getting married. And when I said I do, I heard a smatter of laughter, and I turned around, and Barb was handing money to my best man, as if they had had a bet on whether or not I was going to say I do. So that's one of my great memories of hers. Okay. Anybody else wish to say anything?
So I will
Yes.
speak with Lynn Brandel, and I'll try and find that media, and I'll put it on the cable access channel and our YouTube channel. And then just to refer everybody, we'll thank you to Mick Zawisielak and the Daily Herald for reaching out and covering this. So on our Facebook page, there is a story on this. So I encourage everybody to look at that for more information on her service to this community and her legacy.
I believe the video that the mayor is referencing is on our website right now. There's a page on our homepage dedicated to Barb, and within that description, there's a link to the video.
Okay. Good, thank you. Anything else under communications of that? Okay, then, do we have closed session tonight? We'll get to that at the end of committee? Okay. Then is there a motion to adjourn the board meeting and go to the committee of the whole?
So made.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned and going to committee of the whole.
See you.
Sure.
Turned around, and there was Barb hanging in my best man, John. And I thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to call the committee of the whole meeting. Is there a motion to appoint Trustee Cook President Pro Tem of the committee of the whole?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Cook to be President Pro Tem for the duration of the meeting.
Second.
Is there a motion and a second?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Schenk.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Forster.
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Aye.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
President Byrne.
Aye.
Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from July 9th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion second. Any comments, questions, corrections? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Forster.
Aye.
Trustee Schenk.
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
President Byrne.
Aye.
Chairman Pro Tem Cook.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item is the Kitty Academy Development, 300 Fairway Drive. Discussion of Planning and Zoning Commission recommendations. Director Jennings?
Thank you. You'll recall that the Kitty Academy development came in front of the Committee of the Whole at the beginning of its process back in February. Since that time, they've gone through technical review, a couple rounds with the staff, and then held their public hearing with the Planning and Zoning Commission on July 10th. What I'd like to do before having the project team come forward is just recap briefly what happened with the Planning and Zoning Commission to try to put a framework together of what it is that is asked for this evening. This is just a discussion. At the end of that discussion, the feedback from the committee we utilize to prepare ordinances. So just by way of refresher, it is a two-building proposal. The developer would also be the operator of the Kitty Academy, which would be the south building. It's a 11,000 square foot daycare facility. They would be the landlord for the west building, which is designed to be a swim school. At the time of the Committee of the Whole meeting, they had expressed a desire in going through the full entitlement process, if necessary, to market that, to present a sure thing to potential swim school operators. So that remains the case. They have talked to operators. No one has officially leased it, which is understandable given the speculative nature right now and the unpredictable zoning. So that is an aspect of this that I'll get into in a moment. The Planning and Zoning Commission had 4 motions that they were considering. There was a variation which relates to the north setback. There were no major concerns with that. There are no conditions of approval attached to the variation request. The daycare special use was the next motion. That relates to the operation of the south building, again, by the same group that would be developing the site. The conditions of approval recommended by the Planning and Zoning are in your memo. I'll just review them real quick. Number 1, that a change in the daycare operator shall require review and approval by the village board. Number 2, the documentation describing the demand for daycare capacity shall be updated prior to the board review. That is, let me see if I can go back to this slide. At the time of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, there were a couple of daycare facilities known to the commission and to staff that were not on their analysis of the demand for additional daycare spaces within this community. We provided a list to them. They've now updated it. It still does show a significant demand for additional daycare capacity in this area. And again, they can speak to that when they come forward. And number 3, the condition 3 was business shall be subject to licensing by outside agencies as required. So that is the first special use. The swim school special use, which again would be speculative, so they'd be requesting a special use on behalf of a future operator within certain parameters. So the question for that is how do the two uses occupy the space together? There's a slight overlap in the time of operation, so the condition of approval there would be to ensure that can be done successfully. First, swim school capacity should be limited to 60 students at a time. And the second part of that is that parking stalls immediately adjacent to the west building will be dedicated for swim school drop-off and pickup. So that's the 2 special uses. The majority of the conditions are on the site plan, landscape plan, and architectural architectural appearance motion. And that, I'll go through. Let's see if we have a good image for this. Number one, subject property shall be maintained in common ownership and with a single entity responsible for maintenance with a covenant or similar formal agreement documenting this requirement. Just by way of background, the zoning code does allow 2 buildings to be located on a site as long as they're developed in a unified development. So there's no clear definition of what that is. So the Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is just to ensure that there's a common entity responsible for the entire site. Number 2, sightline diagram must be provided with permit submittal to confirm whether rooftop mechanical unit screening is required. Petitioner has provided that. I would keep the condition in just to have it be reviewed during permitting, but they have demonstrated that the parapet wall will screen and the location is far enough back that the rooftop units are not going to be visible. Number 3, the trees in the parking lot islands shall be shifted north to provide greater clearance for the light poles. They have already done that one. Number 4, the petitioner shall work with staff to revise the landscape plan. And rather than read the entire thing, what I would summarize this one as is we still would like to work with them to ensure that there's winter interest on the site. There are a couple of different things that we'd still like to sort out. So if the committee is in favor of this, my suggestion on this would be to just modify that condition of approval to allow staff to work with them to ensure that there's plantings that will be visible year-round. Number 5, petitioner shall work with staff to increase contrast to between the 2 brick tones and increase the use of stone on the exterior elevations of both buildings. The concern from the commission was that the 2 tones of brick look very similar when they were shown in this room. We've since had the petitioner take the bricks outdoors, take photographs of them in natural light. I believe that there's a contrast between the 2. They will also have mortar to match the brick tones, so the contrast should be very clear, as you can see in the photograph. The use of stone on the elevations. The petitioner had indicated during the hearing that the stone locations were selected because they wouldn't be obscured by landscaping. This again relates to the working with them to ensure that there's winter interest year-round. And then on the other building, the swim school building, they have increased the stone so that it's complementary to the architecture, more complementary to the architecture of the daycare building. So you can see the addition of stone at the entrance of the swim school building. The next one was just making sure that the monument sign is constructed in materials complementary to the building. There is a condition from the staff review relating to a similar issue with the trash enclosure, just ensuring that it was designed to match the building. They have since provided materials to demonstrate that they can, in fact, match the trash enclosure to the building and provided a detail of the fence as well. So with that, I would be requesting just concurrence that the way that they've addressed the commission's concerns is adequate. The project team is here. At this point, I would like to have them come up and answer questions from the board. Good evening.
Hi. Yeah, if you could introduce yourself, please, and,
Yeah, my name is Vic Gulati.
Pretty Galati.
and you are, and how you're related to,
So Pretty and I, we will be the developer and also the operator for Kiddie Academy. We operate a few other Kiddie Academies in the suburbs of Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect. So we have been doing that for the last 12, 13 years. So we'll do that now in our neighborhood, Vernon Hills too. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nick Underwood. I'm with the architects team with Kimberus and Theodore.
Jared Plassick with Manhart Consulting, the civil engineer and also the landscape architect associated with the project.
And I'm Chris Camarada. I'm with Kiddie Academy Corporate.
Kiddie Academy is a franchisee model?
It is. It's a nationally franchised. There's about close to 350 now, I believe. 350 that are open and running nationally, yes.
Questions or comments from the board? Mayor, anything?
Well, how much parking do we got? Do we have there? Or will they have there?
So the number of parking spaces is 81 parking spaces. That's a clarification from what was presented in the staff report, which provides for 50 parking spaces for future swim school, and then 31 parking spaces for the Kid Academy. Both of those are exceeding the village requirements.
What's the acreage of the parcel?
I believe it's 3.13 acres, or very close to that, and approximately a little over 2 acres is truly considered usable based on the existing floodway, wetlands, et cetera, that are on the western side of the parcel.
And,
Oh,
and
3.72.
what's the age groups that'll go in here?
So the childcare Kiddie Academy is going to be servicing children all the way from ages 6 weeks to 12 years. The swim school is going to be geared towards beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So it's going to be a lot of kids. I think it's a life skill now. I think everybody appreciates that. But it will also be a facility that can be used by other, individuals that might be older and might not be classified as kids, but they can also take advantage of the skills of the facility as a way to learn and or improve their skills with regards to swimming.
So you are preschool, pre-K, and daycare, or you also kindergarten too, in private?
It's primarily going to be infants, toddlers, twos, and preschool. That is where the primarily most of the care that we provide is going to be focused on.
And so if a parent brings their child, say they're 3 years old, they'll get a preschool education, and then once, say that's a few hours, and then the rest would be like a daycare? Is that kind of how the model is, or is it?
No, we have state certified curriculum that we follow, and we would be implementing throughout the entire day of their learning.
Okay. And you say you guys are gonna have, I thought I saw somewhere that the zoning, P&Z wants specific drop-off for the potential swim school. Is that correct, or no? Was there not?
Yeah, that was one of their conditions,
One of
was
their
designated swim school drop-off and pickup parking sites.
So how are you going, where would that be? I think you guys had, here we go. Where would that be located then? If there's all these parking spots, like would people picking up be blocking the cars that are being parked, or?
No, I think the idea is that there will be some dedicated parking stalls
And they'll
that
just be
will be
labeled
in
like
front
pickup
of each
only?
of the building. So there will be some dedicated stalls in front of the swim school. There'll be some dedicated stalls in front of the Kiddie Academy that will be leveraged. Now, one thing to consider, Kiddie Academy is closed on the weekends. That is when primarily swim school is most used.
Or even
So,
in the
so
evening.
we will make sure that there's some kind of a limit to in terms of those dedicated stalls, and that they can be used over the weekend by the, and the entirety of the population that's coming to the site. Yeah,
And you have a shared garbage corral, is that correct?
that is right.
In the southeast corner, so that's
Yeah.
quite a walk in the winter for the swim school.
And you've already gone through the certification process with the state?
Sorry, was the question about whether or not a certification has
process
been
with the state,
achieved?
yeah.
Yes, so the way the certification with the state works, which is handled by DCFS, it is a process that begins all the way from creating a floor plan for the childcare center. And eventually, once the certificate of occupancy is provided, that is when the state comes, visits, does its measurements, does its requirements, and they license and allow us to open it for childcare. So the final approval is not given until after the building is fully constructed and a CO has been issued. But having said that, the
But in order to open, you have to
conversation
have that-
starts right
yeah,
now.
Right, yeah,
Yes.
in order to open and
Yeah.
have kids, you have to have that certification.
Absolutely.
Right. Other comments, questions, concerns from the board?
So you're going to build out the swim school with a pool and everything in there, and then look for the tenant after, or do you have a tenant lined up?
No, we're working with some national tenants, and I think the idea is that as we get this approval, we work with them and basically translate that into an actual lease agreement. And then based on that, the interior of the building is going to continue to be refined and built out. Yeah. So I think the idea is the outer shell is identified based on what we have seen in discussions with them. The actual interior, obviously, it slightly differs between different operators, and we will work with them to translate that into a floor plan that'll actually work for them.
What information did you use to gather your data for the demand?
Demand for the childcare center? Yeah.
There's a few slides back.
I think Chris is better prepared for this.
So we look at statistics. We have a company that we've hired that looks at what our primary customer looks like, our secondary customer, our tertiary customer. And when we look at a location, we apply the statistics that are generated from this third-party resource, and we come back with the number of children that are typical to the number of families that are typical to a kiddie academy, and how does it rank against our system. And this location ranked high against our system-wide statistics in terms of viability for the site. With 3,000 plus children in a 3-mile radius, I think that was the number, and it's only being served by less than 2,000. At this time, we feel like that's a good ratio for us to open another location, another Kiddie Academy location in the market.
Do they look at income levels of these houses in these 3-mile
We do.
radiuses?
We look at that. We look at daytime population, those kinds of things. Population of 0 to 4, which is represented up on the screen.
Okay. Other comments, questions? What you're looking for us tonight is,
So the question asked is just general consensus on the updates between planning and zoning and this meeting. The petitioner, in some cases, nothing gets updated. In this case, the petitioner has gone ahead and demonstrated how they can address some of the conditions of approval suggested by the Planning and Zoning Commission. In addition to that, they've also sort of shown their compromise, where the Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation had said, increase stone on both buildings. They have increased the stone as asked on the swim school, but have replied that the selection of the stone locations on the daycare building is working with the landscape plan. So they're respectfully requesting, not to put words in your mouth, but they're requesting to consider those locations as being visible, and an additional stone, again, repeating what they said in their memo to me, additional stone would be hidden. So they're requesting to leave the daycare elevation more or less as is.
okay.
Park district numbers in these statistics? Yes, sorry, I went off the slide right before you asked the question, didn't I? That's the Little Learners.
Little learners. Okay. So should we just poll the board for a consensus on, moving forward with this and matching that? And
Sure,
Right,
I
I
think
think that
that would be appropriate. The items, again, just in the staff memo, the items that I think are the biggest questions would be related to the use of stone, continuing to work with staff to increase winter interest on the landscape plan, and then the contrast of the brick was a concern of the Plan Commission. They didn't have the opportunity to go outside and see the brick in daylight, but that is the reason you're seeing this photograph, is that demonstration that the original bricks as proposed do have a contrast to them.
anyone on the board have a concern with the compromise on the brick that's hidden by landscape and that? No. Okay, so consensus for them to move forward. Trustee Schenk?
Yes.
Trustee Markwart?
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheim? Trustee Forster? Mayor? Are you?
Yeah, this is okay.
Okay, all right. And
It's a nice swim school.
okay, so,
I'll prepare the ordinances as directed then.
okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, next item is the discussion of certificate of building and use conversion, Roots Dance Studio, 660 Hawthorne Center.
Thank you. Roots Dance Studio is being represented by the mall. Roots Dance Studio is a contract lessee of one of the larger spaces that was constructed at the time of the AMC. You can see it highlighted here. I had believed that the representative of the mall would be here. I'm not sure what happened, so I'm happy to answer any questions that I can on this, but if there's something I can't answer, we can bring them back for an additional meeting. Similar to the timeout party and play, this requires both the conversion certificate and a special use. Rather than get deep into the special use review, the way we had done this with timeout party and play is confirm that the committee of the whole is in favor of the conversion certificate first, then hold the public hearing, and then bring both items back together. So at this stage, Roots is an existing dance studio located in Deerfield. I worked with the mall to borrow some images from the internet for this. They are proposing a performing arts school that's a combination of dance, yoga, other movement-based performing arts into the space, which is, I believe I put the square footage, 7,200 square feet, just north of the Pure Bar fitness studio that just opened up, in the space that has not been utilized since it was first constructed. So the memo notes the mall provided some support for this, again, being that the space was constructed in 2014 and has not been utilized. And they believe that the space is not viable for food and beverage because it's off the beaten path and that you can't see it very well from Milwaukee Avenue. So with that, what is being requested tonight is consensus as to whether the committee of the whole is in favor of the conversion certificate. And again, we would work with the tenant and the mall to go through the special use process. They have applied. We don't have a public hearing date set for that. Most likely August, depending on the outcome of this discussion. And then they would return most likely in September with both items. And then just one procedural note, we've been working with the village attorney on a review of the program in general. We are planning for that discussion to be at our next meeting, the August meeting, just reviewing options for potential modification to the conversion certificate program in general. We had elected not to have that discussion on the same night as a discussion of a specific application.
Well, yeah, that's something that's due for an overhaul. I mean, with Hawthorne 2.0, we're moving away from a traditional 20th century mall into a more, 21st century mall, so I'm sure that needs revision.
Correct.
Yeah.
We will discuss some suggestions
Yeah.
at the next meeting.
Comments or questions on this? Now, because any use that brings foot traffic to the mall is,
Anything, yeah.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and this would bring in
A lot of,
potentially quite a bit of foot traffic, yeah. No pun intended with dance, you know.
dance traffic.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions? Do you need anything more tonight other than,
Just general idea of if the committee is in favor of the conversion certificate, and if there's any other feedback that would help them prepare for their special use hearing.
If you could just poll the board.
yeah, trustee Shank?
Yeah, yes.
Trustee Markwart?
Fine with it.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Sure.
Trustee Forster? Mayor, you go on this one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I agree. Okay. That's all we have tonight on this. We have, you said closed session for?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, pending litigation?
Okay. So is there a motion to adjourn committee of the whole and go to closed session for pending litigation?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Schenk?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye?
Trustee Forster?
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
President Byrne?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned and will not be conducting business when we come back out after closed session.